Can I have your leftovers? Homeless girl pleads with a millionaire who is secretly her mother. Before the story begins, wherever you find yourself today, this message is for you. The steady rhythm of autumn rain tapped against the windows of Shauron, Manhattan's most exclusive dining establishment, where the price of a single meal surpassed what many people earned in a week. In a quiet corner of the opulent restaurant, Victoria Sterling sat alone, her elegantly manicured fingers curled around the stem of a crystal wine glass. She gazed absently at the rivulets of rain racing down the window, like tears she no longer knew how to cry. At 52, Victoria had everything the world claimed should bring happiness: a penthouse with sweeping views of Central Park, a thriving investment firm, and a name that commanded respect in every boardroom. Yet tonight, as on so many other nights, she felt a deep, echoing hollowness. The exquisite dish before her remained untouched, growing cold as her thoughts drifted to places she had long forced herself to forget. "Excuse me, ma'am." The soft, timid voice barely broke through the jazz music floating through the restaurant. Victoria raised her eyes, expecting a server, but found herself meeting the most vivid green eyes she had ever seen. The eyes belonged to a little girl, no older than 8, wearing threadbare clothes that hung limply on her frail body. Her tangled auburn hair was matted, her young face marked by the wisdom of hardship far beyond her years. Can I have your leftovers?" the child asked, her voice quivering with a mix of hunger and shame. "I promise I won't make a mess." The restaurant fell silent, every head turning toward the interruption, some faces twisted in disgust, others in pity. The maitre d' practically flew across the floor, cheeks crimson with embarrassment. "Miss Sterling, I am terribly sorry. Security will take her out right away." "No." Victoria's voice cut through the restaurant, cold and sharp. Something in this child had struck a place in her heart she thought long dead. "It's fine, Henry. Let her stay." The girl looked up, startled, those extraordinary green eyes wide with disbelief. Victoria studied her face more closely and felt a strange, inexplicable tug in her chest, a recognition without explanation, a magnetic pull. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Victoria asked, sliding her untouched plate closer. "Emma," the girl whispered, reaching for the food with shaking hands and devouring it desperately. As Victoria watched, her breath caught. Around the child's neck, barely visible under grime, glinted a small silver locket, tarnished, but unmistakable. Victoria's hand flew to her own throat, where a matching locket had once rested. A chill swept over her, and memories she had buried clawed to the surface. The shape of Emma's face. Those eyes. Even the slight tilt of her head when she spoke, so heartbreakingly familiar. "Emma," Victoria said, trying to keep her voice steady, "how long have you been living on the streets?" "Since I was 5, Emma replied between bites, as if this were a normal fact of life. "My foster mom said I was too much trouble." The words landed like a punch to Victoria's chest. Her mind raced through impossible possibilities, calculating timelines that made no sense and yet somehow felt undeniably true. "Do you know anything about your real parents?" Emma shook her head sadly. "The lady at the foster place said my mom didn't want me. That she gave me away because I wasn't good enough." Victoria's wine glass slipped from her trembling fingers and shattered against the marble floor. She barely registered the noise or the hushed murmurs around her. All she could see was this fragile child who might be. "Emma," Victoria began, her voice thick with emotion, "would you like to come home with me tonight just to have a warm bed and a proper meal?" Emma's face lit with a fragile hope. "You really mean it?" Victoria nodded, unable to trust her voice. But as she did, Something caught her eye and made her blood run cold. A small crescent-shaped birthmark on Emma's left wrist, partially hidden by her ragged sleeve. Victoria felt the world spin. She had the exact same birthmark, in the exact same spot. As the staff swept up broken glass and whispered behind her, Victoria stared at the child who had asked for her leftovers, the child who might be the daughter she had been told died 18 years ago in a hospital fire. The daughter she had never stopped grieving. The ride to Victoria's penthouse was silent but for the gentle hum of the Mercedes engine and Emma's occasional sniffles. Emma pressed her face to the window, wide-eyed at the towering city lights, cradling a container of food that Henry had insisted on packing for her. "I've never been in a car this nice," Emma murmured, tracing the leather seats with wonder. "It's softer than any bed I've ever slept in." Victoria's heart broke a little more with each word. When they arrived at the underground garage beneath Victoria's building, Emma's eyes grew as wide as saucers. "You live here?" she asked as they took the private elevator. "Like, all by yourself?" "Yes," Victoria answered simply, though the word felt unbearably heavy. "All by yourself." How those words had haunted her over the years. When the elevator doors opened into the vast penthouse, Emma's gasp filled the silence. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the glittering city. Modern artwork lined the walls, priceless and cold, the furniture elegant yet soulless. "Is this real?" Emma breathed, stepping in with hesitant awe. "Very real," Victoria confirmed softly, watching the girl's reaction. "Emma, when was the last time you had a proper bath?" Emma's face flushed with embarrassment. "I try to wash up in public bathrooms. But it's been a while." "Come on," Victoria said gently, leading her to the guest bathroom. "Let's get you cleaned up, and then I'll find something cozy for you to wear." While the tub filled with warm water, Victoria couldn't stop studying Emma's reflection in the mirror. Underneath the grime, the resemblance was undeniable, the shape of her smile, the delicate curve of her nose, even the way she fidgeted with her fingers. It was like seeing a ghost brought back to life. Victoria rummaged through her closet for something soft, settling on an oversized Harvard sweatshirt that would swallow Emma whole but would at least keep her warm. When Emma emerged from the bath, scrubbed clean and glowing, Victoria had to grip the door frame to steady herself. "You look beautiful," she said, her voice thick. Emma's face lit up but then turned serious. "Miss, I don't even know your name." "Victoria," she answered. "You can call me Victoria." Emma tested it out shyly. "Victoria. Why are you being so nice to me? Most people pretend I'm not even there." Victoria knelt so she could look Emma in the eyes. "Because everyone deserves kindness, Emma. And because..." She hesitated, searching for words. "Because I have a feeling you and I are going to mean a lot to each other." Later, with mugs of hot chocolate in their hands, Emma grew sleepy, her head nodding. Though Victoria had prepared the guest room, she found herself reluctant to let Emma out of sight. "Victoria," Emma murmured, half asleep, "do you think my real mom ever thinks about me?" The question shattered something inside Victoria. "I'm sure she does, sweetheart," she whispered. "I'm sure she thinks about you every single day." When Emma finally drifted into sleep on the couch, Victoria carefully unclasped the tarnished locket around Emma's neck. Inside, a tiny, faded photograph barely recognizable showed Victoria, 18 years younger, cradling a newborn. Her hands began to tremble. The child she had been told died in a hospital fire. Somehow, impossibly, she had survived. But how and why had Victoria been told otherwise? Victoria barely slept that night. She paced the study with the opened locket on her desk, staring at it as though it were evidence of a terrible crime. Every so often, she checked on Emma, sleeping peacefully in the guest room, finally looking like the child she had been meant to be. At dawn, Victoria picked up her phone with a resolve that felt carved in stone. "Marcus, it's Victoria. I need you to run a background check. As deep as you can go. I want everything on this little girl. Whatever it costs." Her old friend Marcus, a retired detective turned private investigator, sounded bleary. "Victoria, it's 6 in the morning. This must be serious. It's the most important thing I've ever asked of you." After hanging up, Victoria returned to check on Emma, who was awake, sitting by the panoramic windows staring at Central Park. "I've never seen so many trees from this high up," Emma said softly. "It's like being a bird." Victoria sat beside her, studying her delicate profile in the morning light. "Emma," she asked, gentle but insistent, "do you remember anything from before you went into foster care?" Emma frowned, thinking hard. "Sometimes I dream. There's a lady with yellow hair, like yours, singing to me. But people say it's just made up." Victoria felt her heart nearly stop. What did she sing? Emma scrunched up her face, concentrating. "Something about stars. Like twinkle, twinkle little star, but different. Different words." Victoria's eyes burned with tears. She had rewritten that lullaby for her baby. "Twinkle, twinkle little heart, mommy loves you from the start." A lullaby no one else knew. "Emma," Victoria asked carefully, "where did you get this locket?" Emma's hand flew protectively to her neck. "It's all I have from before. The foster lady tried to take it, but I hid it. She said it was around my neck when they found me." "Found you where?" "In a hospital parking lot, when I was really little. A nurse found me in a car. I was really sick. The lady at the foster place said my mom must have dumped me because I was too sick." Victoria felt like she was going to be sick herself. "What hospital?" "St. Mary's. That's what the lady said." St. Mary's. The same hospital where Victoria had delivered her daughter, the same place where they told her the baby had died in a fire. Victoria's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus: "Found something. Meet me in an hour." "Emma," Victoria said, trying to keep her voice calm, "I need to go out for a bit. You can come with me, or stay here. There's food, and you can watch TV if you like." Emma's eyes filled with sudden fear. "You'll come back, you're not going to leave me too?" Victoria knelt and took Emma's small hands. "I promise you, Emma, I will never leave you. You're safe here. I will always come back." An hour later, Victoria sat across from Marcus in a tiny cafe, her hands wrapped around a mug to keep them from trembling. Marcus, seasoned and grizzled, looked uncharacteristically shaken. "Victoria, I've worked a lot of strange cases," he began, "but this one, either it's a miracle, or someone's been covering their tracks for a long time." He slid a manila folder across the table. Victoria's hands shook as she opened it. Inside were documents, photographs, and hospital records that made her blood run cold. "Emma Rodriguez," Marcus said. "That's the name on her paperwork. She was listed as a Jane Doe 8 years ago. But there's more records show she was treated for smoke inhalation 18 years ago. Then she vanished from the system." Victoria swallowed hard. "Smoke inhalation from the hospital fire." Marcus sighed. "That's the thing. There was no fire at St. Mary's 18 years ago. None. I checked every report. Victoria felt her head spin. Someone invented the story, Marcus continued grimly. I even tracked down the attending physician, Dr. Margaret Chen. She's retired, but she remembered the case. Baby brought in with breathing issues, no fire damage, then taken by social services under sealed orders. Sealed orders, Victoria echoed, her voice hollow. Yeah. Someone powerful made that baby disappear, Victoria. Victoria closed the folder with a trembling hand. The question is who and why let her resurface now? Driving back to the penthouse, Victoria's mind reeled with possibilities, each more horrifying than the last. But the moment she stepped inside and saw Emma curled on the couch, reading, one thing became absolutely certain: she would protect this child with her life. No matter what it took, Victoria vowed, she would uncover the truth of what had happened to them and make sure no one ever stole another day from them again. Victoria's grip on the phone tightened until her fingers ached. The child is not safe. The words burned into her mind like acid, igniting a rage deeper than anything she'd ever known. They had already stolen 18 years, they would not steal another moment. She drew a shaky breath and looked across the room at Emma, who was still clutching the faded photograph of them together, her small face full of confusion and a vulnerability Victoria recognized all too well. Emma, Victoria said gently, forcing calm into her voice, we need to be very careful from now on, okay? Emma glanced up, instantly alert. Because of the people who don't want us together. Victoria nodded. Yes. But I won't let them hurt you. I swear that. Emma's brow furrowed. Do you think they're watching us right now? Victoria swallowed hard. It's possible, she admitted. That's why I need you to trust me, even if I ask you to do something that feels strange. Emma nodded solemnly. I trust you, Mom. Hearing Mom on Emma's lips felt like a dagger and a bomb all at once. Victoria had waited so long to hear it, but she could not fully enjoy the moment, not when danger was breathing down their necks. Her mind raced, running through every contact, every resource she still had. Richard had people in high places, no doubt. But Victoria had learned a thing or two herself over the years: how to hide, how to fight, how to survive. She picked up the phone again, dialing Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Marcus, we have to assume they're monitoring my phone and the apartment, she said quickly. Yeah, I figured, he replied. I'm already working on a secure burner line for you, and I can get a signal jammer over there within a couple of hours. Good, Victoria said. And Marcus, thank you. There was a brief silence. Then his voice, low and steady, Victoria, I'm with you to the end. We'll get them. She ended the call, her jaw clenched with determination. Emma came to stand by her side, slipping her small hand into Victoria's. What are we going to do? Victoria smiled, though it was tight and pained. We're going to be smart. And we're going to stay together. That's what they fear most. By that afternoon, Marcus had arrived, carrying a nondescript backpack. He gave Victoria a grim nod, then pulled out a jammer the size of a paperback book. This should buy you some privacy, he explained, setting it on the table and flipping a switch. No one's listening right now. Emma eyed the device with curiosity, but Marcus smiled at her gently. It's like a force field, kiddo. Keeps the bad guys from hearing. She nodded solemnly. That's good. We need a force field. Victoria drew in a long breath. Tell me everything you've found so far. Marcus took a seat, spreading out papers, receipts, financial ledgers. "Look at these," he said, tapping a highlighted line. "The payments from the POC started even before Emma was born. Hush money, most likely. And after the supposed fire, money flowed to everyone involved. Hospital administrators, social workers, even some of the foster families Emma ended up with." Emma's head snapped up. "They paid people to keep me away from you." Marcus nodded. "I'm afraid so, sweetheart." Victoria reached over and squeezed Emma's hand. "None of this is your fault, do you hear me? None of it." Emma nodded shakily. Marcus continued. "It's a massive web, Victoria. It was designed to make sure you never connected the dots. But someone got sloppy." He flipped to another sheet. "The POC, Americans for Strong Leadership, they're tied directly to Richard Blackwood's biggest donors. And I traced a shell company that funded a foster agency where Emma spent 2 years. The dots all go back to him." Victoria felt bile rise in her throat. "So he never let go," she whispered. "He's been controlling Emma's life from the shadows this whole time." Marcus nodded grimly. "Exactly. And if he knows you're closing in, he'll get desperate. That text you got is proof." Emma looked up, fear battling with courage in her young eyes. "Will he try to take me again?" Victoria pulled her close, pressing a kiss to her hair. "I will never let that happen," she vowed. That night, after Marcus had left and the apartment was quiet again, Victoria lay awake beside Emma, who had refused to sleep alone. The child's breathing was steady, but even in sleep she looked troubled. Victoria brushed a stray lock of hair from Emma's forehead. How many nightmares has she survived alone, she wondered, fury and heartbreak twisting together inside her. The events of the day replayed in her mind, each new detail hammering home the scale of Richard's betrayal. He had stolen their entire future and now he was threatening to do it again. "No," Victoria thought fiercely. "I will burn down everything he's built before I let him take her again." The next morning, Victoria took Emma for a walk through a small neighborhood park. Fresh air, she decided, might help clear both their heads. But the moment she stepped outside, her instincts went on high alert. Across the street, a dark sedan idled. Its windows were tinted, and its driver seemed to be studying something on a phone. Emma tugged at her hand. "Mom." "It's okay," Victoria lied smoothly, though she was already memorizing the license plate. They walked the path slowly, Victoria scanning every face, every bench, every corner of shadow. Emma, perceptive as always, stayed silent but close. When they returned home, Victoria immediately called Marcus. "They're watching the apartment," she told him flatly. He sighed. "Yeah. I figured they would. Want me to get you out?" Victoria glanced at Emma, who was coloring on the floor with more concentration than peace. "Not yet," she decided. "I need to confront Richard. It ends with him." Marcus hesitated. "You sure you're ready for that?" "I have to be," Victoria said. "For Emma." That evening, she sat Emma down on the couch, hands folded in her lap. "Sweetheart," she began carefully, "I need to go see someone tomorrow. Someone very dangerous." Emma's eyes went wide. "Alone?" Victoria nodded. "It's safer for you that way." "No." Emma cried, grabbing her sleeve. "What if he hurts you? I don't want to lose you again." Victoria pulled her daughter close. "I am coming back. I promise you that. I will always come back for you." Emma bit her lip, trembling. Promise. Promise. Emma threw her arms around Victoria, and for a long moment neither of them spoke. The following afternoon, Victoria dressed in calm, professional armor, a dark pantsuit, low heels, minimal jewelry. She was going to see Richard Blackwood face to face, and she refused to look weak. Marcus drove her to Richard's private club, a granite fortress of privilege and secrets. As she stepped out of the car, she felt the full weight of 18 years pressing down on her shoulders. He stole my child, she reminded herself with every step. He tried to erase us. He will never do that again. Inside, the receptionist recognized her and made a discreet call. Moments later, Richard himself emerged, his hair silver, his tailored suit immaculate, as if no time had touched him at all. "Victoria," he said smoothly, like a man greeting an old lover rather than the mother of the child he'd stolen. "What an unexpected surprise." She forced a neutral expression. "We need to talk." His eyes glittered with dangerous calm. "Of course." He led her to a private lounge, glass doors shutting them away from any witnesses. "You've been busy," Richard said, voice almost admiring. "Digging up ancient graves." Victoria's blood burned. "I know what you did." His smile didn't waver. "You know only what I allowed you to find." Her jaw clenched. "You stole my daughter. You made me bury a child who was still alive." Richard sighed dramatically, as if inconvenienced. "I protected your future. And mine. You were reckless. You would have ruined everything." Victoria slammed her hands on the table between them. "She is my child, Richard. You had no right." His eyes went cold, the facade of charm slipping. "I had every right. You were nothing but a naive girl. You would have dragged me down with you. I did what was necessary." Victoria felt as though she might explode from the sheer hatred boiling inside her. "You tried to kill her," she hissed. "You put her in a garage with a running car." Richard shrugged faintly. "That was unfortunate. But a permanent solution is always cleaner." The matter-of-fact tone made her skin crawl. "You failed," she spat. "And I will destroy you for what you did." Richard leaned back, unconcerned. "I could end you tomorrow, Victoria. Both of you. Remember that." She glared at him, refusing to flinch. "Then why haven't you?" His eyes narrowed. "Because you're still useful. And because I know you love that child enough to behave if it means keeping her alive." Victoria felt her pulse hammering, but she forced herself to stay calm. "You're bluffing. If you touch her again, I will take you down with everything I've got." Richard's smile returned, sharp as a knife. "We'll see, Victoria. We'll see." She stood, trembling with rage, but determined. "This isn't over." As she left the club, her knees felt weak, but her resolve had never been stronger. "He is not invincible," she reminded herself. "And he will not win." When Marcus picked her up, he glanced at her pale face. "You okay?" Victoria nodded slowly. "No. But I'm ready." He started the car. "What's the plan?" Victoria looked out the window at the city passing by, every building a reminder of the world Richard Blackwood had corrupted. "We fight," she said. "For Emma. And for the truth. After Victoria receives a chilling ultimatum via text, return her to the system voluntarily or face the consequences. She refuses to back down, forwarding the message to Marcus and replying defiantly, "Try me." Moments later, Richard Blackwood himself calls her, revealing he is still pulling the strings with confidence and cruelty. He mocks Emma as a street urchin and claims Victoria can never prove she's Emma's mother, flaunting that he has years of official records labeling Victoria unfit. Victoria, however, strikes back, calmly stating she has DNA evidence, hospital documents, and Dr. Chen's testimony. Richard tries to dismiss Dr. Chen as unreliable, but Victoria reveals Marcus is building a bulletproof financial paper trail showing hush payments and systemic corruption. Richard warns her that as a U.S. senator with massive resources, she cannot win. But Victoria fires back, fueled by a mother's determination, declaring Emma is stronger than anything Richard has tried to break. Furious, Richard threatens to have child services forcibly remove Emma within 24 hours if Victoria doesn't comply. As the call ends, Emma, having heard everything, is frightened that she will be taken away again. Victoria reassures her, promising to fight no matter what. Realizing the danger is imminent, Victoria contacts old friends from her earlier, harder days, people who can help her protect Emma by going outside official channels. At dawn, Marcus arrives with a duffel bag and a grave warning: police are already on their way to conduct a wellness check, an obvious pretext to remove Emma. Victoria quickly wakes Emma and they flee through the building's maintenance tunnels. Emma, calm and brave despite the danger, carries a small backpack with precious items, including the locket and the photographs from Dr. Chen. They reach Sarah Chen's office in Queens, a safe haven run by the daughter of the same Dr. Chen who once saved Emma. Sarah, a civil rights attorney, has waited years for this moment after promising her mother to help if Emma was ever found. She welcomes them and immediately begins strategizing. Sarah tells them that to beat someone as powerful as Richard, they must go public in a way he cannot silence through social media and independent voices, not controlled news. As Sarah and Marcus compile evidence, Emma bravely recounts her time in the foster system with stunning detail, revealing how she was systematically shuffled between homes to prevent any long-term attachments, all funded by Richard's political networks. Emma heartbreakingly realizes that she was used as a tool to control Victoria, a living form of leverage that Richard could reactivate whenever needed. Victoria assures Emma she was never a weapon, only her beloved daughter. Meanwhile, Marcus uncovers more horrifying evidence. Not only did Richard pay people off for years, but he also funded a private investigator to monitor Victoria's every move, even tracking her therapy sessions and relationships. Emma, wise beyond her years, notes that Richard knew Victoria would never have another child after losing Emma, and used that grief to ensure his own safety. Victoria is heartbroken but inspired by Emma's resilience and intelligence. Sarah urges them to act quickly, as Richard's 24-hour deadline is closing in. She proposes they launch a viral campaign, exposing Emma's true story before Richard can spin it or bury it. Emma agrees, determined to help other children trapped in the system and to show the world she is more than Richard's narrative of damaged goods. As they plan, none of them notice a black sedan parked outside, its occupant reporting back to Richard proof that he is already preparing his next move. They work through the night with Marcus tapping old contacts, journalists, ex-cops, and activists to gather every shred of evidence before it can be destroyed. Marcus reveals a crucial piece of video, grainy but authentic hospital security footage showing Richard bribing Dr. Peterson the night Emma was born, with enhanced audio confirming Richard's direct order to hide the baby's survival from Victoria. Sarah calls this the smoking gun, indisputable proof of conspiracy, fraud, and kidnapping. However, another disturbing discovery emerges. Richard has been paying a contractor called Asset Management Solutions, a shady private military group known for eliminating threats, not managing assets. That confirms to Victoria he intends not only to remove Emma, but potentially to kill them both to protect his secrets. As they grapple with the horror of Richard's reach, Emma appears in the doorway, having overheard their conversation. She quietly asks if they are planning how to fight the bad man. Victoria, knowing she can't hide the truth from such a perceptive child, tells her honestly that they are gathering proof to expose him. Emma then stuns everyone by recalling a memory. About a year ago, she saw Richard visiting one of her foster homes in person. She overheard him telling her foster mother that Emma was getting too comfortable and needed to be moved, explicitly ordering that she could not form stable relationships. Victoria's rage is ignited all over again, realizing Richard had actively sabotaged Emma's entire childhood, repeatedly preventing her from finding a real home. Emma's detailed recollection provides yet another damning piece of evidence that Richard directly interfered with her placements. In this section, the stakes rise to a fever pitch. Richard is preparing to move decisively, Victoria and Emma are on the run but now with powerful allies, and the evidence from documents to video to Emma's own memories is coming together for a final, decisive confrontation. But their moment of triumph was interrupted by the arrival of additional black SUVs. Men in expensive suits, earpieces tucked discreetly against their jaws, stepped out with cold precision. They moved through the crowd like sharks, cutting a path straight for Victoria and Emma. "Protect the girl," Victoria whispered urgently to Marcus, who nodded and instinctively stepped closer to Emma, shielding her with his body. One of the suited men, older and with a chillingly calm expression, raised a megaphone. "Victoria Sterling," he announced. "By order of the Office of Child Welfare and under emergency jurisdiction, you are to surrender the minor known as Emma Rodriguez into protective custody immediately." The crowd erupted in angry shouts. Reporters surged forward, mics thrust toward the suited men, cameras rolling. Emma clung to Victoria's hand. "Mom. Stay with me," Victoria murmured fiercely. Sarah stepped up beside them, voice ringing clear. "On what grounds? You just heard the girl's own statement. You just saw the evidence. You cannot lawfully seize a child in front of the entire city." The agent didn't flinch. "This is a matter of public safety." Emma stepped forward, trembling but brave, raising her voice so all could hear. "I am not in danger from my mother. I am in danger from the man who took me. Senator Richard Blackwood." The agent hesitated. The statement was on record, witnessed by hundreds, and streaming live to tens of thousands online. One misstep would destroy their narrative. But before the agent could react, another voice cut through the tension. A woman from the crowd, one of the parents who had spoken moments earlier, stepped forward, blocking the path of the agents. "You are not taking this girl," she declared fiercely. "We see you now. We know what you've done to all of us." Other parents moved to join her, creating a human barrier between Emma and the men in suits. The agents looked uncertain, their confidence faltering in the face of so many eyewitnesses and cameras. Victoria felt hope surge through her chest. The power of the truth was stronger than any badge or official order. Suddenly, a ripple of movement on the edge of the crowd caught her attention. Another black SUV, this one more discreet, had parked farther away. And stepping out was Richard Blackwood himself, perfectly pressed suit, hair silver as ever, a mask of calm authority over the cold calculation in his eyes. He approached the steps, and the crowd parted in horrified silence. Richard raised a hand, as if bestowing peace on the chaos. "This woman is deeply troubled," he began smoothly, addressing the cameras. "She has manipulated this poor child into believing a false story. There is no proof of what she claims." Emma stepped forward, voice shaking but determined. "There is proof," she shouted, cutting him off. There's the DNA test, the hospital video, the money trail. And there's me. Richard's jaw tightened, ever so slightly, the first crack in his composure. Victoria seized the moment. "Senator Blackwood," she called in a clear, carrying voice, "tell these people why you paid to have my daughter hidden. Tell them why you bribed doctors, social workers, and foster parents. Tell them why you called her a commodity." The crowd turned on Richard, their eyes suddenly sharper, more questioning, and the microphones thrust toward him multiplied. His eyes flickered cornered, but still dangerous. "You have no legal standing," he sneered. "You are nothing but a grieving woman chasing ghosts. And this child," he pointed at Emma, "will go back into care where she belongs." Emma squared her shoulders, refusing to be cowed. "I belong with my mother." The agents hesitated, seeing the strength in Emma, the evidence, the solidarity of the parents who had surrounded her. Even they could not deny what was unfolding live across the internet. Victoria stepped closer to Richard, meeting his eyes with unflinching fury. "It's over," she told him. "You can't bury this anymore." For a moment, Richard's facade slipped, revealing a flash of pure rage. But then he straightened, smoothing his tie with icy confidence. "You think this ends here?" he hissed softly so only she could hear. "I built a machine bigger than you can ever imagine. Then I'll tear it down," Victoria vowed. He stepped back, gesturing curtly to the agents. Some obeyed, moving to retreat, clearly unwilling to escalate in front of so many cameras, but others still hovered, tense and uncertain. The crowd began chanting, first one voice, then dozens, then hundreds, "Let her stay! Let her stay!" It roared across the plaza like a tidal wave. Emma reached for Victoria's hand, their fingers twining together, unbreakable. Richard looked around, reading the mood of the crowd, then turned and stalked back toward his vehicle, his agents following, defeated for now but far from finished. Victoria exhaled shakily, overwhelmed with relief and awe at her daughter's courage. Emma had done what no one else could: broken the silence, shattered the lies, and united countless other wounded families. As police began gently dispersing the crowd, Emma leaned against Victoria, exhausted but safe. "Is it really over?" she asked, her voice small, fragile. Victoria kissed her forehead. "Not yet, sweetheart," she promised. "But we just won the first battle. And that's enough to keep fighting." Beside them, Sarah and Marcus looked equally determined. The machine Richard had built was still out there, but so was the truth. And now, the world was finally listening. Victoria held Emma as she slept, breathing evenly at last, safe and warm in a bed that was truly hers. The past 6 months had been a whirlwind of hearings, testimony, and news coverage, but now, in the quiet glow of a New York evening, the weight of those battles felt lighter. Emma was home, not just physically but in spirit, no longer a child who had to keep her shoes by the door, ready to run. Victoria stroked her daughter's hair, remembering all the nights she cried for a baby she thought was gone forever. That grief had shaped her, carved out pieces of her heart, but what had grown back was stronger, fiercer, a love that refused to die. Now, that love had brought Emma back, had carried them through Richard Blackwood's web of lies, and exposed a rot that reached far beyond them. The courts had moved quickly once the evidence became undeniable. Richard's polished facade had crumbled under Emma's unwavering truth, and even his most loyal allies had turned away when faced with the sheer cruelty of what he'd done. He'd accepted a plea deal, 15 years in federal prison, stripped of power, name forever disgraced. But the victory was bigger than Richard's downfall. Because of Emma's bravery, 17 children had been reunited with their families, countless others pulled out of dangerous placements. Reforms were underway. Foster agencies were under review, and whistleblowers felt safe enough to speak out. Emma had given them all permission to hope again. Victoria looked around Emma's new room, the deep purple walls, silver stars glowing faintly, the cozy reading nook stacked with books Emma had chosen herself. On the desk sat her sketchbook, half-finished drawings of trees, people, dreams. The simple right to imagine a future, to plan, to belong, it was everything. Emma stirred, eyes fluttering open. "Mom, I'm here, sweetheart," Victoria answered softly. Emma smiled, a sleepy, peaceful smile. "I dreamed we were walking by the river. You were singing." Victoria felt tears gather, warm and grateful. "Maybe someday we really will walk by the river. Anywhere you want to go, we'll go together." Emma reached out, taking Victoria's hand, still small but strong. "Do you think there are more kids like me, still out there?" Victoria nodded, heart tight. "I know there are. And we'll keep fighting for them, too." Emma's expression grew solemn, a glimpse of the old, hard-earned wisdom behind her young eyes. "Promise?" Victoria squeezed her hand. "I promise, Emma. Always." From down the hall came the warm sounds of their apartment. Marcus talking on the phone, coordinating with Sarah, still working to help other families. Their little team had become a force of change, unwilling to let Emma's courage go to waste. Emma yawned and nestled closer, the weight of her small body grounding Victoria in this moment. Here was what they had fought for: safety, love, family. Outside, New York buzzed and roared, the city alive with its endless possibilities. Somewhere, more children were waiting, more mothers wondering if their lost babies might one day come home. Victoria vowed she would stand with them, shine a light for them, just as Emma had. A knock on the door drew her out of her thoughts. Sarah stepped inside, quiet and respectful. "She asleep?" "Almost," Victoria whispered. Sarah smiled. "The governor just called. They're moving forward on that foster care oversight bill. They want you and Emma there when they sign it." Victoria felt a surge of pride. Emma's voice, their story was changing laws. "We'll be there," she promised. Sarah glanced at Emma, then back at Victoria. "You did it?" Victoria shook her head, smiling. "We did it. Emma did it." After Sarah left, Victoria returned her attention to her daughter. Emma was nearly asleep again, her breathing soft and even. "Mom," Emma mumbled drowsily. "Yes, baby. Will you stay until I'm all the way asleep?" Victoria's throat tightened with love. "Of course." She stayed, humming the lullaby Emma had remembered. "Twinkle, twinkle, little heart," her voice steady, a promise woven into every note. "We will never be apart." As the last rays of sunset dipped below the skyline, painting Emma's walls with a soft glow, Victoria knew their story was only beginning. They had reclaimed each other, reclaimed hope, and lit a path for others still lost. Emma sighed, finally letting sleep take her fully, a child who no longer had to fear the night. Victoria watched her, holding the line between their past and their future, and felt at peace. Love had found them. Love had saved them. And love would carry them forward, forever.